Hello my lovely sewing friends, it's Catherine here, and I am so pleased to be back with you on my sewing channel. This is Serenity Sews, and I want to say a huge thank you, as I do every time, in appreciation of all of you who follow me and all of you who give me thumbs up, and those of you who very kindly subscribed to my channel and passed on your likes and your messages, and I hope I've answered those who have. So today we are back at my Sewing Skills A to Z alphabet, and we have reached F, Freddy the Frog F. Oh, I better tell you what I'm wearing. This is the Atelier Jupe Frida blouse, and a really big favourite amongst the Beyond the Pink Door Pink Ladies group. And I made it in this gorgeous Atelier Brunette, one of their, well, really wonderful viscose twill fabrics. And like many of you, you pay for that little bit extra, but actually what you get back is a beautiful piece of fabric that makes something that will last for years. So I really love this blouse, and I can't believe I've only made one. I am due to make another one, so that's on my list for to do. So let's get on with the category F, and I have chosen to talk about facings. Now, all of you will know what I mean, I hope, when I talk about facing, but a facing is a kind of back part to a portion of a garment that needs extra stability, shape, or you want to make a feature out of it. So say for instance, as I am doing here, I have a neck facing which I've cut out. That is a front facing piece, and this, as you can see, is a back facing piece. So what this actually does is give your garment a cleaner, neater and more professional finish. Now when we are sewing our lovely top or blouse, what we often have is a part of the garment, particularly around the neck or coming down to a V-neck, is a part of the fabric that's cut on the bias. Now, if we don't stabilize that somehow, it will stretch out of shape and really make a poorly fitting garment around the neck, which is where most people, when we look at someone, that's where we first look here. And so it's really important in our preparation that we stay stitch or stabilize this neck part, so that when we come to attach our facing, we can line it up with the notches, and it hasn't bagged out of shape, and then we will find that we get a much better finish and a really neat part of the garment that is where our eyes would be drawn to first. So the commonest place, I guess, and one that I've already demonstrated, is the neckline, but we can have facings anywhere. So we'll have a facing, as I've got down the front of this blouse, which gives stability and provides support for putting buttonholes and buttons. Around an arm there, again, to provide a finish and perhaps more of a decorative support for the arm. Around the armhole or the arm side, where we need to finish again because we might have a slightly cut in area, which means that if we don't stay stitch that, it will fall out of shape and gape. And another area is the hemline. So we might want to give that garment some weight and a different finish. So if we were doing a scalloped finish to the top, then we definitely need to put on it a facing to give it that stability and to hold that beautiful shape. So when you're thinking about facings, it's really important that we look at the stabilizers that we're going to use. So I've got here a couple of my favorite stabilizers. Now, I tend to use for my woven interfacing, this stable kind. It's got the dotty glue bits on the back there. Not sure you can see. But it's very stable. It looks almost like cotton lawn on the top. Now it is a little bit more expensive. I think this is Visaline 700. However, this stays very well attached through washing and through wear, and doesn't over kind of make the facing very heavy and stiff. This has a lovely fold to it, so when you want it to be retain a little bit of that give and that drape, I find this Visaline is probably my favourite to use, and it is in white and black. Another good tip around jersey and stretch fabrics, very often if we don't stabilise parts of that, it will look bumpy and lumpy, particularly around the hemline and the neckline. So I tend to use this very light stretch, as you can see, interfacing that is brilliant on stretch fabrics. So say for instance you were doing a cardigan and you wanted to stabilize it in a drapey jersey that you were using and didn't use an alternative fabric, then I would use this. I also often put this into cuffs or hembands, so that's just my way of doing stretch jersey stabilizers. The other thing I've got is I bought this reel of this is poly, so it's not a cotton, but it's brilliant for doing areas like around the arms. So if I'm doing a jacket or I want to stabilize a long area down the front, this is really good for that. And I think I got it off eBay. As you can see, I'm not even halfway through the roll there. Another way of finishing a garment rather than putting on a traditional facing is to use bias binding. Now, of course, for woven fabrics, we all know we can make our own bias finish, and that often, when you've made your own, it just looks so pretty. And this is a blouse I've made probably late summer with gorgeous sleeves there. Now this has got two finishes, so I think you can see there I made my own bias finish to go around the neck, so it's a very narrow bias. It just looks so pretty in this very lightweight cotton lawn. But this also has got a beautiful hemline finish. Can you see? No, you can't. But there's the hem. So instead of finishing and hemming, this blouse had me make my own facing for the bottom. And because this is so lightweight, it does give that hemline a lot more substance, and it just drapes and hangs beautifully. Jersey or stretch fabrics. Now this is a simple top. I'll move back, you can see. Simple top there, self-drafted. I think I used Lisa Comfort's book, which tells you how to self-draft a top. So instead of putting traditional facings on this, because I didn't want it too bulky, I did just turn and stitch. So that's a way that you can finish a top very quickly and very easily. So I just turned it over and used a large zigzag stitch to stabilize that, and I did exactly the same along the hem there. So that's fine. I can get away with all sorts of things in terms of stretch, but I have recently bought some of these stretch bias tapes. They are 1 centimetre wide and are lovely and stretchy, and I've just used some of this yesterday on a baby garment, and it's perfect for that. I don't think these were that expensive, and I did purchase them from Pound Fabric, so I got about half a dozen of colours that I knew I'd be likely to use. So that was the first time I'd used them yesterday, and I would have to say it really does give the garment a lovely finish, and I didn't have to fiddle around making my own bias tape out of jersey, which is always a bit tricky. It's not quite as simple as making a woven bias finish. So I do recommend those. Another idea. This is a kimono type, I suppose, cardigan, jacket, a top. And for this facing, it told me on the pattern just to turn and stitch, but I wanted, as you can see, to make a feature of the two separate fabrics here, because I really love these two together. The bottom I did turn and hem, but I made my own wide edging and stitched that on, both for around the body of the garment but also the cuffs. So I think I was really pleased with that, and I'll do that again. Just to demonstrate to you this pattern, I'll just pop that down a little bit. This pattern, well, this fabric actually is a Nano Aero fabric, and you all know how expensive that is. So I wanted to really make the fabric the start of the top, which I did. This is a new look pattern, one that's out of print now because I made this about 4 years ago. But this pattern I made facings for the neckline because I wanted to stabilize that, the cuff, and also the bottom hem. I'm sorry this hasn't been ironed, as you can see, but I just wanted to show you that to make the garment last, I made the decision to do facings for the whole of this garment so that I got my value for money from this one. Again, sorry this isn't ironed, but I just took this out the wash basket. Now this is a pattern I've used many times. It's a Stylark pattern with just a tie there. This is some beautiful viscose with, as you can see, some lurex just dotted throughout all the lovely flowers there. Now, silly me, when I made this, made the facing in that fabric, and of course it was very itchy to the skin. So I took off that facing and I replaced it with a plain viscose there, and it made a huge difference. I don't feel now the itchy scratchy bits around my neck, and I can wear it all day and not actually feel that I've got a ring of fire around my neck. So think about those things. Think about what you're using in the places where you might be more sensitive to the type of fabric it is, whether it's loose or tight. So we really should put some thought into how our facings finish our garment. Now, one of the most important parts of construction when we're doing a facing is that we trim down around the area before we press it. Now, I always do it that way because I find if I press it first and then try to trim away the excess fabric, I always struggle a little bit. So I trim and I clip into the curves before then I take it to the pressing board and I press it. Now, what I forgot to say was when I am pressing my interfacing onto the facing that I've cut out ready for use, is I will do this on this little sheet of Teflon, and this is brilliant to stop your sticky bits off here getting onto your ironing board. I think I saw this tip. I won't own it for my own. I think it was Alex Judge, and I thought that was an absolutely brilliant idea, and I've done that ever since. So just a little tip there for you. When you grade and trim, just think about where the curve is. So if you're going to take bulk out, you make quite a large triangle into the clip out. If you are just chopping it to, say, to get, for instance, when you're getting a sleeve head in, you might just want to trim into it or snip into it so that it gives you a little bit of give. What you then need to do is, once you've done your trim, once you've done your snipping out, once you've pressed, is to stay stitch or overstitch it or understitch it. And what that will do is allow the facing to sit correctly and not flip out. So I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this here, but there is my understitch line, so that from the outside all I can see is the outside fabric. That's really important. And make sure you press according to the shape that you are wanting to achieve at the end. So for instance, here on, I don't know whether you remember this, but my trench coat, it's really important when you're doing, say, the collar, that it flows to the front where I want it to finish. And because this is going to be over an area where my bust is, I would press that over a ham so that it gives it that little bit of shape and finish. Just want to share with you this delightful lining on my coat, and the facing, as you can see, all the way down. Now I've used different types of interfacing, and I am going to do eye for interfacing. on this coat. But generally, if you want to build up a little bit more of stability or weight to it, you can put 2 layers of interfacing onto that one area. So that's just another little tip. When you are pressing, try and use a piece of organza. I've had mine for so many years I can't remember, but although it costs a little bit of money to buy organza, you can see through it. It doesn't leave a shine. It allows your iron to be at the highest temperature, and it will not damage your garment underneath. So that's just a quick whistle-stop tour through facings. Hope you found that useful. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Please leave your comments if there's something I can help you with, and I am coming back to you next week with a humongous fabric haul that I've been waiting to do, but I promised myself I would only do it when I got these videos out of the way. So happy sewing day to you all. Lots of love. Be kind to everyone, but more than that, be kind to yourself. Bye for now.